Hey guys, this is day 5 of the web design course, which means we are quite near the end. And today we'll be looking at material design. Material design is a framework, or is a bunch of like we made style sheets and scripts, right? So material design is a bunch of such style sheets and scripts that Google has already made for their websites. So they have made a bunch of styles that they use for their own websites, and they are making it available for, like for example, Android is made from this. So and they use it for a bunch of their websites, and they made it available for all of us to use it and use it in our own websites. So that's what we are going to be looking at, how we can use their style sheets and scripts inside our own website. And yeah, so in order to do that, first you need to go to their website called getmdl.io. I'll leave the link in the description, and it's called Material Design Lite. So the styling, so Google, instead of just creating some bunch of style sheets and scripts, which many other companies have done, and Bootstrap is also another example of such a framework. But what Google has done here is they have taken a concept, and they they have done like quite a bit of research into making this style. So I mean, at least that's what shows in their video. So they've done quite a bit of research work in order to get in order to make a pleasing style components. So yeah, that is what is Material Design. It's a project by Google, and this is Material Design Lite, which basically means it's a bunch of scripts and styles that we can use in our own project to make our project look to you look the same, to have it get the same look as the Google's websites. Google websites and apps, they use the same thing for both of them. Material Design Lite is actually a bit outdated because Google has moved away from these styles to a bit more. They've customized the style, and it is still not available in light version. So Material Design Lite is different from what Google's style is right now. They're shifting to a different a new version of Material Design. But this is the only thing we have for using as our own for now. I mean, this is the quickest way of doing it. There are other ways you can do it, but this is one of the quickest and recommended way of doing. So, in order to get started, you need to go to that website. I'll put the link below, and then press getting started. And so yeah, there are a bunch of options that you can use here, but this is the best option. So if you can see here, there are 3 lines of code that they tell you to add to your HTML page. uh, Two of them are style sheets, just like we it's the same as our style sheet we linked here using the link tag. Similarly, there are 2 link tags, so it is basically we are linking 2 style sheets that Google has in these URLs. So we're going to link those. Okay, I'll just give you a look in the on the style sheet. So this is the style sheet that Google has made. They've made it a light version, so everything just looks jumbled together and not in a proper manner like this. So yeah, this is the style sheet, and there's also another one. um, and similarly, there's a script, just like we added a script here. Sorry, this one, there's a script that Google has already made that we can include in our own website. So in order to get started, we just have to put these three inside our head. Such scripts are best put inside the head. Even the JavaScript, I know that I told you guys to put the script here. That's just for our use. But if you are taking such frameworks or templates from third-party sites, it's best to put them inside the head. So that's what I've done. I put the three lines, copied just the three lines of code and put it here, and we should be good to go. So let's straight away you won't be able to see much of a difference here, but the only thing that has changed is the font. Just a subtle change. I used the Arial Helvetica font, sans serif font here, and they're using Roboto. So which isn't much, there isn't much of a difference between the two, even but I still prefer Roboto anyway. So that's how we got get started. And then now if you head on to components, you will get a bunch of elements that or components that you can use. So let's say for example we need to change these buttons. So Google has a few buttons that they've already made. There's this one, there's also buttons here. Let's take this one, and this you can find the code to this button over here. So you just have to copy this and paste it wherever you want. So be careful because we need this ID in order for the button to work. So I'm going to put that ID over here, then get rid of the button tags. So and change the content to expand. So now we'll have that button and it works, right? Like you saw before, when I pressed expand, this is what happened. So I'm going to do the same for the other button. Where's the other button? Okay, yeah, there it is. I'm going to change the content to expand ID, then get rid of the old button. So in that changes. So we have two buttons over here, and also the links style has changed. So basically every style that Google already has, even though we have styled it in a particular way here, it will change according to Google's style, the style sheet that we included. So where's that button? Okay, expand. And what? Oh yeah, we didn't include the, this one won't change because we didn't include the scripts here. So let's uh, include those, the script and the style sheets. And now oh, there's a change. There's a margin here. Let's get rid of that. So you have the option to change the style according to your wish. I mean, you can change some of it, right or left. 24 px. Why isn't it working? Hmm. Mm, let's have a look. Why isn't the margin coming? So put margin on the body. So yeah, this is my property which I put margin left as 24px, but it is getting overridden by Google's style sheet. The style sheet that we added, this one, material indigo pink. So what's happening is this thing comes over here, right? So my style properties here, and then Google style properties over here. So after this code comes this code. So this one overrides this one. So if I put margin left here, margin left 0, I put margin left 20px here, but Google has mentioned 0px here. So what happens is this one uh, beats this one. This one overrides my code here. So in order to change that, it's best to put our style sheet in the end. I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's see if that works. Okay, so now it works. I'm going to change these, change the font. We don't really need this. This is already there in Google's code, so I'm going to leave that. So yeah, let's expand. Okay, now it works. Page on, page 2, all that works. So that's basically how you use Google's material design, and there are a bunch of other things that you can use. For example, card. Let's just see how card works. Can we add the card somewhere? I'd rather not. Yes. Or else. Then there's ships, there's layouts. Mhm. Why don't we turn these into buttons as well? Let's try that. I'm going to turn it into circular buttons like these. I'm going to use this one rather than this color. Let's see if it works. So inside the A tag, I'm going to put the button inside this. There's a chance it might not work. Okay, it worked. So let's do the same for all of them. And that works, but in not so good. uh, I mean, we have to change the logo here. If you change it to a better icon, then it would be great. Speaking of which, Google has their own icon. It has their own icons. um let's use one of those instead of expands. Okay, I'm gonna change expand here to before I do that, let's look at something. Let's see if we're missing anything. Okay, I'm not going to get into the whole of it. um, I'm just gonna put the body inside this main, because I think that's why there's this verse horizontal scaling here. Does that work? No, something causing that. Oh, maybe it's the margin left. What if I get rid of the margin left? Okay, so margin left, that's causing the vertical, not me. So yeah, mm, so we need to put a margin here such that it don't scroll here. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? The thing to do here is put the whole thing inside this main tag. And over here I'm going to put main as margin. Let's just put padding left. Okay. Actually, why not just put on both sides? I'm just going to put both sides. Otherwise, it would look weird in this one. Anyway, so that worked. Um, yeah, it's going to be a really short tutorial. There isn't much. This is super simple to use. So anything you want to use here, for example, if it's a list, you just copy this whole code and then use it in yours. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that most of us that we commonly need. So you just have to, whatever you need, you can just copy the code, paste it here, and then just it would work. So yeah, that's basically material design. I'm not going to get into all of these because we don't really need much of it, but you will be needing it for your final project. So please do check these out and try making different websites with it. Now that you already have this, you don't have to write the script or the style sheet all the time. So you can just copy this and paste it, but still it's good to know CSS, because if you want to make some changes like I did over here, you will need to know CSS. You will need to add your own style sheet, but even if you don't, it's fine. So that's what this is that easy to use. So another thing is, you say this color, it is we can change that by using customize. So if you want to choose a different color, so we have the script already inside our web page, which is not that one, this one, material indigo pink, right? So this style sheet only supports these two colors. These two are the main colors. If you want to change it, you can change. So first you need to select, let's say, green. That's the main color, and then you need to select a secondary color, let's say this blue. It will give you a preview here if you like it. Let's say I'm going to choose should look that good. And what this hmm. I'm going to go with this one. So if after selecting your colors, you take this and replace that indigo pink style sheet, and that's it. It changes. Oh yeah, we need to change in the second page as well. And there you go. So that's how you change the color. And now what I want to do is I'm going to change these expands buttons from expand to just like a down arrow. Google also has this uh, what do you say, a collection of icons like these that we can use. We already included that the ability to use that icon by using this is called material icons. So if you have this style sheet, you can basically use those icons, and in order to use those icons you need to go to this website, material icon, this one. So Google has a huge library of icons, but it doesn't have few of them. Like they don't have company logos inside their icons. That you still have to stick to the image that the same way that we use here. But there are many other icons that we can use. So I'm just looking for the arrow. You can search here, down. Yeah, this one, expands. So once you selected the icon, you just have to press here and you will get the code to add this. So you copy the code and paste it wherever you want the icon to appear. So I want it to appear instead of this expands, and let's see what happens. Oh, this is in the page 2. So yeah, you get this. uh, I'm going to change this button. I'm also going to change this button to the circular one. Let's take components. Is this, because this one doesn't really look good. I'm going to change it to this one. So if I already have a button, but the only difference is the class, so I'm only going to copy the class here, and I'm going to add here. And let's see what happens. So yeah, that works. And I'm going to do the same for the buttons here. Expands. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Expands. And I'm also going to put the class here. Let's see if that works. So yeah, that works. So that's how we put the uh, icons, material icons. I'll also leave a description for this as well down in the description. I'll also leave the link on in the description below. You can check it out. And another thing I wanted to show you is how to change the font. I show in the CSS tutorial, showed you that there are some fonts that you can already use. I had used that font here, but I got rid of it. I used the Arial font, which is they're called web safe fonts. Just to give a quick recap, they're called web safe fonts because those fonts are available everywhere in any browser or in any operating system. So you can safely use this. You just have to put their name and those fonts will work. But if you but here Google uses a different one called Roboto, which is available in their library, which I'll show you soon. uh, if you don't like this and you want to change it, you can. Google has a huge library of fonts called fonts.google.com. You can take it from there. I'll leave the link in the description. So they have all these fonts that you can use, and even though in the resume I'm not supposed to use such decorative fonts, I'm just going to take on and show you about Yellowtail. I'm going to check Yellowtail. What's it again? Yellowtail. So they changed the website. This is not how it used to look. Select the style and select embed. So even here you need to add a style sheet in order to get this font. So I've copied that style sheet and I'm going to put it over here right above our custom style sheet. And this is the CSS property you have to use in order to use that font. So I'm going to add that to my H1 heading 1. So H1 should now become this font. See, so it's that easy. Similarly, you can try a whole bunch of uh, fonts. You can add 2 or 3 of them to the same website. Let's say, for example, Pacifico. Let's say I'm going to use this one as well. So if I do this, they'll really change the style sheet a bit. You don't have to add the style sheet again. You don't have to add a separate one. You can just change the previous fonts, because what they do is they combine both of these into a single style sheet. If you choose it at the same time, like if you refresh and come back again, you'll have it. You'll only have one font. But if you choose this style sheet at the same time, you'll have. Just make sure you have both the names, like Fredoka one. Fredoka one is here. They made it bold. Similarly, Yellowtail is also here. So if both are showing up, you just need to include that one. You don't have to include one for Yellowtail and one for Fredoka. So I've added the style sheet, and to make this Fredoka, I'm going to make H2 Fredoka. So yeah, you can add different fonts this way. Let's add this one over there as well. And that should work. So yeah, so that's how you add fonts to your you know third-party fonts to your website. And Google has a whole bunch of them that you can use. You can also filter it by the type of font you're looking for. For example, not this thing, categories. So Sans is pretty old kind of, all these where the A has an extra line or extra bit over here, B has this extra thing. That's Sans Serif is more modern. It has the straight. It doesn't have that extra bits over here, and displays almost the same. I really don't remember what the difference is. And handwritings looks more like handwritings, just like the name. And monospace are those that have a huge space between, comparatively huge space between the alphabets. So based on your preferences, you can select uh, which font you want. But one thing to remember is the more fonts you add, the more slower your site is going to become. So if you add like 4 or 5 fonts at the same time, your website will become slower. So you need to choose your fonts wisely. Okay. uh, they'll show you if you look inside the style, they'll show you, I guess they'll show you how fast it would be. I guess not. They used to show how much time or how slower your website will be if you add a particular um, if you add a particular font. And yeah, this shows the supported all the supported alphabets and characters. So Yellowtail only supports, for example, here Yellowtail only supports the English language, numbers, and some of the characters. So if you add a character which is not here, like if you add, let's say, a Hindi-led alphabet or something like that, or a Greek symbol, I don't think there's a lot of Greek symbols here. If you add a Greek symbol or something like that, it would go back to Roboto, because Roboto is the default style when you're using Material Design. And they also show which combination goes well with the, if you're using this as the title, which should go well. And you can also switch it. You can use this as the default and this one as the, so they'll give you a bunch of recommendations that of fonts that would go well with the font that you selected. And if you like that, you can just add it and it will come inside here, and you can just embed it from here. So this is a really handy tool you can use. And so yeah, that's about fonts. And so that's pretty much it for today. uh, like I said, the video is really short, and it's mainly because this thing is like super easy to use, and it makes, I won't recommend this for like all websites, like especially for this one. This is not how you make a resume, so don't do that. I just did it for next showing it to you guys. um, and similarly, don't use it for all the websites. Seriously, now when Material Design started, it looked good. uh, I'll also quickly show you their other website called material.io. This is where all their research and all that is mentioned. Mm, so there's videos, you can watch them. So if you head on to this design section, they'll show you how they designed everything, like the color, the layout, and all that stuff. Navigation layout, pixel density is I guess. Yeah, so this is how they created the, their, which are a bunch of principles behind how they created this. So this surfaces is, I guess, the most important one here. So yeah, they created these paper-like surfaces that doesn't have depth. It just looks like papers. And they made it behave as much as possible as like a card or a paper that we see in our actual real life. So our in order to make our to make the design more pleasing, I guess. They've done a bunch of these. So I'm just gonna close this website. I'll leave the website in the description below. I guess this website is making my laptop slower. So anyway, like I said, don't use material design everywhere. When it first started, it looked cool, but then once everyone started using it, it kind of became boring, I guess. But I would recommend using this if you're making, complicated web apps, like a social media website or an e-commerce website. In such websites, it's not the design. When you're just starting out, it's not the design that matters the most. It is whether the website works or not. So we won't be getting into how to make social networks or e-commerce websites, like in shopping websites now, because it's super complicated and you guys are just beginning. um, Maybe I might make some tutorials in my YouTube channel, so subscribe if you want. I guess I'm not going to it's no guarantee that I'm going to do it, but I might. So uh, yeah, so use material design if you want, but don't use it everywhere. And that's going to be it. So guys, check out all the components here. You can check different components. It might not be useful here, but just try them out, because like I said, you're going to have a final project. I'm going to ask you to make a project, and from for next week. By next week, that is from Thursday, I guess, because I'll be covering Firebase tomorrow, and after that it's just one more day till we finish the week. So from Friday, I'm gonna on Friday I'll describe the project properly on the 26th. Tomorrow I'll be covering Firebase, and the day after I'll describe the project. So I'll give you 1 week time, or before the quarantine is over, because shutdown is over in Kerala. They shut down till the 31st, right? So you'll have time until then to submit your project. So I would recommend you go through all this. I've already described the project before, but if you in the first video, if you remember, but still I still give you a brief description. I'll give you another description on the 26th, and so if you check all this out, and if you just revise the previous lessons that we learned, it would be great, because you don't really have much time to do it. So check this out, and that's it for today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be learning Firebase.